One of the most important things I've learned from conspiracy theorists, and I love me some conspiracy theorists. It's fun, gives you a whole different way to look at the world. It's liberating as well. It's kind of like when you find God, and when God truly speaks to you, you're just liberated to know that the world, it is what it is, and you're not of this world, you're of God's world, and as such, it's no big deal, man. God's in charge, and whatever happens is how God wanted it. And when you feel like they're like, huh, it must be nice to say. I get it 100%, man. I get it. I haven't lost my wife, haven't lost a child. I get all that. Wait for those challenges. God gives us the challenges that we can handle. So I'm pretty, I don't have a lot of tolerance for challenges, if that makes sense. So I'm sure God says, I'm going to take it easy on you, Josh, because you don't have the intestinal fortitude to deal with some of the stuff that like my wife has had to deal with. Anyway, so it's very interesting. I've been reading and a follower of news and stuff for a long time, and I always wonder, like, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the LA Times, the Chicago, whatever, Sun Times, what I don't know, Chicago Tribune, something like that. They all say the same thing. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, they all say the same thing. You know what I'm saying? All of them. And it just literally is freaking parroting. Quack, quack, quack. I'll say what you want me to say. And then all the media, they don't have any individual thought. I said, it's all left-wing crap. I said, why does the media realize there's 50% of the population that's ready for the taking? You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't get it. Like, why wouldn't there be just basic capitalism, some alternative to this? And lo and behold, Rush Limbaugh came out. We had Bob Grant. Then, but Bob Grant was national in New York City, and there was various conservative talk show hosts in various cities and whatnot. But Bob Grant was probably the biggest before Rush Limbaugh because he was in New York City. Then Rush Limbaugh came out, all right, and so Rush Limbaugh then became when they put him syndicated, where they put him all over the United States, and that was a big risk. And Roger Ailes did that risk, all right. And then Roger Ailes said, I'm going to use Murdoch's money and use a network to appease or to appeal to the right-wing folks, and that was Fox News in 1996, if memory serves. All right, and then so that made sense. All right, but we still had, and Fox News dominated because MSNBC, CNN, and whatever the other ones are, and just local news, they're all competing for their 50% of the population, and Fox News had the whole thing on their own. And I always said, it's just the weirdest thing. I never understood that. And then, like, why would they cede the right in the middle of the road right to Fox News? It didn't make any sense. And before Fox News, there was nothing on the right. I mean, you might have George Will on occasion and Robert Novak and op-ed, but the media was always far left. It's weird. I always wonder that. So there's money to be made here, and if you're a capitalist, you would appeal to these people. And then, so fast forward many years, and Lord of the Rings is a freaking monster of a movie. And then Amazon does these idiotic Lord of the Rings takes that are just stupid, man. And totally violating the franchise of Lord of the Rings, violating Tolkien stuff. And you're like, why would you ruin a success? And it doesn't make sense. And then, Bud Light. So Bud Light's the number one beer in America, apparently, or something like that. And they come up with this idiotic campaign. It's stupid. It's like your base isn't transgendered people or even allies to that. Your base is just regular working Americans, men, predominantly men. Why would you sacrifice that to the people who aren't going to drink a beer anyway? It doesn't make any sense. Well, where conspiracy theorists would say is because they don't care, they don't need the money. You think Amazon needs the money for Lord of the Rings? No. You think MSNBC, CNN, they need the money? Of course not. They're still in business. They don't need the money. You think even Fox News needs the money? No, they don't need the money. They are put there to serve a purpose. Now, Roger Ailes may or may not have known that he's put there to serve a purpose. I don't know. But there is some kind of cabal that says, look, we can't make it. And this is the conspiracy theorists. I love it. I think it's spot on. They don't need the money. There is not enough, let's just say you're a tiny minority of the population. There isn't enough to make it worthwhile to sacrifice the predominant amount of your current customer base to appeal this tiny minority. It doesn't make sense. The only way it makes sense is that they need the message, not the money, because they already have the money solidified. Disney going woke with children at play. We know this, and there's you up to no good. Those people at Disney, they don't need the money, or else they would not do that. Why would you sacrifice risking drawing the ire of your customer base, which is parents and grandparents with children, to support a tiny minority? A lot of them aren't going to have kids themselves. It doesn't make sense. And but when you think about that, they don't need the money, and then it does make sense. They need the message, not the money. And what the message is they want to draw the distinction between good. They always want to have the false dichotomy of good versus bad, right versus left, red versus blue, black versus white. That's what they need more than anything. They need people to take sides. And I do. Look, I'm on the right. I'm white. I take the right side. I'm a Christian, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of draw a false dichotomy for myself. But once you realize the conspiracy theorists have been saying this, they don't need the money. NASA doesn't need the money. They got more money. I mean, literally, the money is, if you think about, what's my man's name? Uneducated Economist. Talks about the Cantillon effect, which Ed Chancellor talks about in his book, The Value of Time. I'm just doing some steaks here. Look at that, baby. Got those are just New York strips. Got them on sale from Publix last night. So we're going to sear these on the top for 5 minutes each side. Turn down the heat for a little bit. Let's make this a little bit hotter, and then we'll get these suckers ready to go. But because they don't need the money, they can do whatever they want. And what they need more is people at odds, without question. You know, you being part of the system, you being part of the game, like, oh, if I just vote harder, if I just give John McCain more money, if I write a letter to Mitt Romney, if, doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter. If I voice my disdain over Bud Light, and you should, I mean, absolutely, that's stupid, but they don't care. They just don't care. You would never hire some 39-year-old idiot out of friggin' Groton and then Harvard Business School to run your Bud Light campaign. I mean, you don't do that. You only do that when the money is not the issue. You're not trying to increase market share. You're trying to increase message share. That's why you do that. So instead of saying, why do they do this? Well, they do it to set up, that's not this, what's the word I'm looking for? People at odds. That's what they do. They do this to say that they can. Oh, anyway, Cantillon effect. So what happens is the government spends the money essentially, you know, via fiat currency and whatnot, and the fat cats get access to it first, and we are left with the crumbs, if there are any crumbs. And so the fat cats don't have the money from the government. The government has the money from the fat cats, because the fat cats, the cabal, they tell the government what to do. There's no other way around that, man. You know, Jamie Dimon isn't in charge. Joe Biden is not in charge. There are people above them that are in charge that we'll never know because they don't make themselves known. It's not George Soros. I mean, is he part of it? Yeah, absolutely. You know, is he a low man on the totem pole? Probably not, but he's certainly not the guy in charge. I mean, that's just a fact, because the fact that we know him inherently means he's not. Is Klaus Schwab in charge? No. They're taking orders from evil people, if they're even people. And such, they say, look, we have the fiat currency. We have all the money we need. We need the message. We need the message. We need to ramp up our messaging until 10. Let's get Dylan Mulvaney, you know, advertising sports bras. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. I mean, come on, man. You don't have a bunch of companies all at the same time saying, we support George Floyd, we support Dylan Mulvaney. I mean, it's just so friggin' stupid. And you're not going to say, like, the Boston Bruins aren't going to have photoshopped out a guy, Charlie Coyle, in a practice. The Bruins actually did this, which is insanity. They photoshopped Charlie Coyle, who's at a practice one day, with his Boston PD shirt. They literally photoshopped where it said BPD because they didn't want to offend Black Lives people. It's insanity. That doesn't just happen in a vacuum. Or maybe it happens in a vacuum. I don't know. That happens by deliberate action by the cabal. And so they don't do that. Expect to maintain market share. They don't do it in NHL. The NHL fan base is about 100% white men. You know what I'm saying? 100% white, probably 80% men. A lot of them are middle-aged, upper income people like me. You know what I'm saying? As such, they say, we're going to offend our base by appealing to Black Lives Matter. Are you insane, dude? We're going to offend our base by appealing with our transgender or rainbow flags on our uniforms. Are you insane? They don't do that because they don't do that to get more hockey fans. They do it to create controversy. Not because controversy draws eyes, but they need people at odds with each other. You see what I'm saying? There's no way in hell the Boston Bruins are going to Photoshop a guy who's got a Boston PD shirt on other than to create chaos because they're serving the beast. And that's all there is to it. There's no way in hell the NHL is going to have their players wear, freaking 52 flavor shirts, flags out there on the ice to try to increase their market share. No, this doesn't make any sense. The only way they do it is because they don't need the money. You see what I'm saying? And when you realize that, you say, oh, they don't care about the money. All they care about is the message. Now, I will still, I mean, look, I'm a human being, dude. It still pisses me off. I'm not going to lie to you. I still don't like it. But I don't watch Fox News anymore. I haven't watched Fox News for probably 5 years. I just don't care because I recognize they are part of the cabal, 100%. I still like sports. I enjoy the competition. I enjoy the entertainment of it. I realize a lot of it's probably rigged, frankly, but I still like it. I still watch. I don't watch there and sit and like, oh my goodness, they should, they want to increase market share. It's just the whole thing's stupid. So I recognize it's not about the money. It's about the message. And when you see that, it's like, huh. All right. And politics the same way. Do you really think CNN would have Trump on a town hall in front of Republicans? I mean, come on, man. That was, I'm not saying it was scripted, but they knew they were going to get there. It's still fun to behold. I didn't watch, I just watched the highlights. It's still fun to witness. I'm not going to lie to you. I enjoyed that. But CNN, you think they did that to freaking be middle of the road or say, we're going to give Trump no. They want people at odds. It's the message. The message is have people at odds and they're easier to be controlled. Have idiot AOC out there, oh my goodness, shirking like the lunatic she is, and have, the right wing, this one case, taking a victory lap because Trump smoked him. It's great. I love it. But at the end of the day, when we're at odds with each other, it's easier to control. They don't need the money. I can't stress this stuff. What are your thoughts? Conspiracy theories are great. I love it. Seems like every day a new conspiracy theory is proven right, by the way. Do you hear about the Russians? Why would they lie? Why would the Russians tell? Well, we've had now 2 Russian talk about you-know-what, which I'm not going to say here. One was the head of the Russian space agency. He said, I've yet to be proven that the U.S. landed on the moon. And we had another guy, another cosmonaut, who said the same thing a couple years back. And of course, all the people say, that guy was just laughing. And he wasn't just laughing. He was just telling a joke. No, he wasn't. So now we got the Russian space agency head saying, there's no proof that the Americans landed on the moon. And so everyone's going to say, well, yes, we do have proof. So it's funny how these conspiracy theories, once you debunk an anti-conspiracy theory, once you debunk the debunker of the conspiracy theory, they always say, no, that's not, there's another reason why. I said, well, you weren't saying that before there, big guy. You know what I'm saying? You were saying something else before. And now that debunking has been debunked, you're going to have to come up with another debunk. I just find it funny, man. It's fun. It's fun being a conspiracy theorist because you recognize the world we live in isn't what we're seeing. And that's why I just say, God, you're in charge. You're in control. I just give my life to you and let the rest fall, let the chips fall they may. All right, God bless.